Hello YouTube, or more accurately, hello YouTuber. I'm not talking to all of YouTube at the same time. I'm talking to whoever's watching the video. I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to say hello YouTube. Anyway, yeah, this is the Nautilus Typology channel, maybe soon to be known by another title, because somebody told me nobody knows what a Nautilus is. But if you don't, it's that picture I have right now it's the snail squid, I guess you could say, that I have as my profile picture. That's what a Nautilus is, and this is typology, so there you go. Yeah, so I'm going to be talking in this video about how to type yourself using the temperaments and the energetics. A temperament is a grouping of functions that everybody, or most people in the type community, are familiar with. My nose is itchy, but I can't get it to go away. Yeah, so JE, extroverted judging, that's extroverted thinking and extroverted feeling, or PE, which is extroverted perceiving, that's extroverted sensing and extroverted intuition. JI, which is introverted judging, introverted thinking, introverted feeling. PI, which is introverted perceiving, introverted intuition, introverted sensing. Those are the temperaments. What do I mean by energetics? Energetics essentially are when you combine two temperaments. So when you have JE and PE, that's E. When you have PE and JI, that's J. When you have JI and PI, that's I. And which one? No, I did that wrong. When you have PE and JI, that's P. When you have PI and JE, that's J. And those are the energetics. E, J, I, P. OPS calls them animals. I call them energetics, but we're talking about the same thing. Not exactly, I'm not using their definition, but we're talking about the same construction of the functions. But yeah, this is how to type yourself using these things. So how do you do that? We can start with the temperaments, and this is going to tell you whether or not what your top two temperaments are. Are you JEPE, or are you an extrovert? Are you PEJI, or are you a perceiver? That type of stuff. So, and by the end of this video, you should be able to hopefully narrow yourself down to 8 out of 32 types. No, excuse me, 1 out of 8 is the proportion, but it's 4 out of 32 types. That's the correct number. That's a lot. So, and I'll be making another video after this about how to hopefully narrow it down even more. But, so we can start with the temperaments. JE is essentially having a group orientation. It's about my group or your group. It's about having a group focus. Are you focused on groups, or are you more JI? Are you focused on individuals? Not necessarily yourself, but individuals. That's kind of the main difference there. That's about it for those two. I mean, I guess in terms of what that would look like. I mean, are you spending a lot of time socializing in groups or in one-on-one situations? Are you spending more time? That's it. That's about it. I think it's kind of obvious if you look at it like that, you know. And we can get into more how these combine later, but yeah. PE versus PI. This is a bit more subtle, and I can only really look at it in the context of like either groups or individuals, but it's like, is it like, so I guess we can get in maybe into the energetics now, because let's start with JE. I did groups as JE, individuals as JI. Oh, I know how to do this. It's just, yeah, here we go. So I'll get to that later, but PE is just like multiple, and then PI is single. And I guess I'll go into that now, because you kind of need to go straight from there, because it's too conceptual at this point. Once you kind of see how they interact with JE and JI, then it'll become more clear with the energetics. So the energetics, like I said, we can start with, let's say, E, or JE and PE. That's when you have multiple groups interacting. That's the NBA. That's going out with friends to a bar where you're with other people who went out with their friend groups to the same bar. That's extroversion. When you have this group, this group, this group, this group, all intermingling and interacting. Unless you go to a bar with my friend group, in that case you just like and don't talk to anybody else, and it's like, why did we go here? We could have just stayed at so and so's place. We didn't need to go out if we weren't going to talk to anyone. Not that I was going to talk to anybody, because I'm an IP. I'm not the group guy. Maybe I'll talk with somebody individually, but not even that, because I'm an I. Anyway, I'm pretty antisocial. So we can go to J from there. That's like a single group. That's like that's the example I was just giving. When you're just at somebody's house, chilling, vibing out, just shooting the shit. That's J, because there's just one group that's on the floor, at the house. Yeah. I mean, that's about it. I can get into sports examples, but I'll be making a sports video on this later, so stay tuned for that. That's when it's just you hanging out by yourself. You're not talking to anybody except for maybe yourself. But you're not even necessarily talking to yourself. You could be working on your golf swing. You could be practicing a song. That's I. Oh, and I keep on forgetting the point of this video. Like, how do you know? Like, hey, do I spend more time in group interaction or just by myself? That's E versus I. And then J versus P is, do I spend more time with a group or in one-on-one interactions? And emphasis on a group, not with a group among groups, but just a single group versus on one-on-one interactions. Me, for example, like, this pandemic has been chill for me, because like I'm just like, hey, well, I spend all this time kind of just introspecting and on my own working on typology. Can I do that when I can't go out? Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of me with I. Other thing I'll do on the P side is have conversations with people about typology, and I'm not really like, oh man, I need to, like, I'll talk to friends individually. It's not like, oh man, I miss that group dynamic or that group activity I used to do. There's none of that. So that's why I'm an IP. I then P as opposed to P then I, because my introversion is stronger than my perceiving. That's about it. That's how you type yourself using Temperaments and Energetics. The temperaments say, are you a group focused or individual focused? Are you multiple focused or a single focused? That's kind of how they combine. You have, the introversion is like a single individual. J is a single group. E is multiple groups. And then P is multiple individuals. Not quite, because multiple individuals sounds like a group, but it's really just a one-on-one. It's like, a better way to say it is E is group on group. J is group. I is individual. And then P is individual on individual. And if you compare it, and you compare it like that, you say, am I more one-on-one or just group? Am I more individual to individual interaction focused or more group interaction focused? And that's P versus J. And then you can say, well, am I more group on group interaction focused or just individual focused? That's E versus I. And that, depending on which one you are, you put those together, you get E or I, J or P. That's about it. So you can, what you can do is like and subscribe if you found this video informative and helpful in figuring out your type. And even if you, thought, maybe he missed some stuff, he's using some weird definitions, you can also like and subscribe. Because you don't really know what you like, and nobody does. So just like everything on YouTube and help YouTubers out. Yeah. Alright, that's all I got for this. Tune in next time for how to type yourself using the clubs. Thanks.